Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of the Tango Banter. I'm Yelizaveta, and today my guest is Tanya Magid from Santa Barbara, California, who came to tango in her late 40s and has been an avid social dancer and an occasional performer for the past 13 years. In this episode, we banter about the advantages of starting tango later in life rather than earlier, as well as the realities of being an older dancer on the scene and how to deal with the inevitable ageism that plagues tango and life in general. We also talk about relationships to self and others and how tango pushes one to become more accepting of reality. Tanya and her husband Ilya have been dancing tango for over a decade, and we dive into her story of how they met and how they navigate the world of social tango together. I hope you enjoy this banter, and if you would like to come onto the banter sometime, please fill out the questionnaire that I have included the link to in the show notes below, and perhaps the stars will align and you'll find yourself in the banter with me. Now, without further ado, here is Tanya Magid.
First of all, thank you for inviting me. It's a big honor to have somebody who is interested to listen to you. You know, we all love to talk about ourselves, and not always we have an opportunity. And you're giving me an opportunity not only to talk about myself, but also to talk about tango, which is my pet peeve. The minute I start talking about tango, everybody around me knows that. That's it. I don't stop. I just keep pushing and going and giving my ideas and my describing my passion. So yeah, it's interesting. I never been a dancer, and I never had any experiences in expressing my love for music through physical movement. So I was listening to the music. I was watching a lot of ballet and figure skating as everybody else in Russia. And I was a big professional in watching the events and competitions. And but I never thought, it never came to my mind that I can myself do something to express my love for this beautiful art form as dance. And dance connected with the music, I can express it myself through my body. So I was just watching passively. And by the time I was 47 years old, I think, I went, by chance, I went to travel with my friend, to travel on a cruise ship, where we saw beautiful performance of a group, little group of Argentinians. They called them Pampa Devils. They call themselves. They've been mostly folklore dancers, but they also had a number performance with tango. And we loved how it looked, we loved the music, we loved the whole energy. So they had a little class afterward for everybody who wanted to participate. They've been teaching you to do 8 steps, to do the cross, right from the very beginning. And I was moving, no partner, of course. You just move by yourself, trying to repeat after the teacher. And I was thinking, oh my God, it's not that difficult. It's just, I can move with this music. It's easy. So we went to that guy and we asked him to give us a private class, me and my friend. And of course he was happy to do that. So that was the moment when I actually found out something very interesting about myself. So I came to the class without expecting any miracles, but also I am not a shy person, so I was okay. The guy asked me, his name was Pablo, I believe. He asked me, are you okay if I'm going to embrace you? And I said, yeah, go ahead. You're gorgeous. Embrace me.
Who
who
says
says
no
no
to
to
that?
this kind of man, asking, can I embrace you? And so he said, don't worry about anything. I'm going to turn the music on. I'm going to embrace you. You can close your eyes and you just listen to the music and you kind of try to listen to me. And that's what I did. And that was the moment of the little miracle. Because suddenly I closed my eyes, I listened to the music, I listened to him, to his body, and suddenly I was dancing. I was dancing. I was stepping to the back, which is very unnatural, and dancing together with this guy. I even understood which foot was supposed to go first and second. And that was it. I said, I'm sold. I'm going to learn how to do it. And went back. I lived at that time, I lived close to San Francisco in Marin County, north of San Francisco. And I started my journey. But that's probably another story.
Yeah. And so how many years have you been dancing now?
It's been 13 years. 13 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I have big birthday
It's
coming.
funny that you mention the connection with ice skating, because I was also into watching ice skating. I remember when I was a teenager, when I was already in the States at that time, and I just started to have access to the internet. Like, it was early internet days for me. And one of the things I was obsessed about was finding photographs of ice skaters in these poses. And I would print them out and collect them and arrange them. And I was just like so into it. And I wonder whether you feel that there is some sort of a connection between watching tango and watching ice skating. Do you think that there is some sort of overlap?
There is a very good saying that our eye is a muscle. So if you teach yourself to see beauty in any art form, you can train yourself to see beauty. Because what is beautiful? Beautiful is something harmonious, something that's pleasing to your eye. And you can train this quality. So I think it was great adventure, great experience for all of us. We only had 2 TV channels when I grew up. There was forget about internet. So on these 2 TV channels, it was almost nothing to watch except sports competitions. And for me, and ballet, classical ballet, and figure skating, and sometimes the gymnastics. That's it. That was all that was interesting on that. But it gave me this training. So I can see when I was watching, for example, many years ago, 20 some years ago, I went in San Francisco and watched Forever Tango. I saw how beautiful it is. I could appreciate the professionalism, the complexity, the beauty of the form, complete harmony with the music, how they express the music through their bodies. I could see that. I could appreciate what I saw. And that's thanks to that training of my eye, of my muscle.
Yeah.
So
that's an interesting way of seeing that. Yeah.
And that was, I don't know, sometimes we don't know how it's gonna pay us later in life, what we do in our childhood, but it's so important to have the opportunities.
Yeah, that's true. And that show, Forever Tango, so many people I've talked to tell me that they started tango because of that, or that it somehow influenced their interest in tango, and maybe they picked it up later. And so I just keep hearing it mentioned. What was to you so powerful about it? Besides it being musical, like it seems like there's something special about that show, which it aired. I mean, it happened in the 90s, right? It was a traveling show in the 90s. Yes, it was.
What happened is it just introduced you to this particular culture, because I didn't know about that. So it was just an introduction, but it was not an incentive for me to go and learn it, because it was like like you go to Bolshoi Theater to watch the ballet. you enjoy it, but it doesn't mean that it will come to your mind, go and do that. You understand? That's completely out of your...
So you saw this performance, and then it was years later that you went on this cruise and learned
Absolutely.
and had your first
Yeah.
experience. So the seeds were
Right.
planted
The
before.
music was beautiful, and I loved it. And that's a big, big thing when you love the music. And then this idea came,
Yeah.
you can express it. So I have to say that the beginning was beautiful, but then, as in every beginning, then the rocky part started. Because when I came back and I started to look for classes, and I found classes, and I signed up in San Francisco and then in Marin County, and these first classes were horrible, and because you
What made them so bad?
because people, it's a big class for beginners, so you're a beginner, your partner is a beginner, and you just don't understand what's going on, where all this beauty is gone.
The blind,
the
leading
blind
the
is
blind.
leading the blind. There is no music, of course. I mean, there is music, but you are not with it. And your
Yeah.
partner is not with it, and you are not with your partner. And I mean, it was just this awkward feeling, and not necessarily I actually loved to be embraced by these people. This was completely different embrace than Pablo's embrace on the ship. So it was completely different feeling, and I thought to myself, maybe it's just better to watch. Just don't even try to do that. So I went to a couple classes, and I met a beautiful woman and great teacher. Her name is Debbie Goodwin. She still lives with her husband, with John Campbell. They live in Marin County, and they still teach. They have a studio there. And she is great in many, many aspects, but she's a great psychologist also, because I came to a couple of their classes and then I stopped. But since we lived close by, we met at some point by accident in Zumba classes. I was taking Zumba classes. So we came to the same class, and she said, "Why did you stop coming to learn tango?" And I said, "You know what, I'll tell you the truth. I don't like this whole thing of close embrace and somebody is breathing into your face, and not necessarily I like this particular person and I have to be so close to him." And then it's just this whole idea of embrace and listening to your partner. I don't really buy it now. So it's easier for me to dance by myself. I found this Zumba classes, it's Latin music, so I can express whatever I want without a partner, without listening to somebody else, what somebody else wants me to do. And she said, "Okay, I understand that, but I have a proposal for you. I think you have a potential, and I'm preparing right now a performance, like this student's performance. And in this play, it's gonna be scripted, and I'm gonna do choreographed numbers for couples, but also I'm gonna create a choreographed number for women only. And it's gonna be just choreographed dance with tango music, no partner needed. You just dance with a group of women." And I said, "Oh, really? That sounds interesting." And she also told me, "Oh, you will have to dress up because the theme is going to be 20s, roaring 20s, you know. So you dress up in all this beautiful clothes. You can change clothes a couple times." And I said, "Okay, that sounds interesting." But she said, "There is one thing you have to do. For half a year, it's a commitment. So we're going to be rehearsing for half a year. And during that time, you have to come and take classes with me, private classes. And I'll give you very good deal because it's for half a year. But you come and take those classes." And she's a great leader. She's a great dancer herself. And I started to go to her classes, and for about 4 or 5 months, I was going to her twice a week. And it didn't happen. You know how you go and you, little by little, the quantity becomes quality. But sometimes it takes such a long time that you lose perspective. You don't, because you don't know what you're supposed to feel and how it's supposed to be, you kind of become so disappointed. Yeah, I'm learning, I'm training, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, but there is no satisfaction. I don't even know why am I doing it, what I'm learning for, because these movements don't feel natural. They don't feel, I don't feel beautiful. I don't feel that I'm dancing. But we kept, because I made a commitment, and I'm very disciplined like that. So, so we get
Like a good Russian.
Russian, exactly. So I kept going, and we were learning choreography also with all these women, and I was taking classes with her. And then what happened? My friend, the one with whom we found tango, she calls me one day and just tells me, "You know what? I'm flying to Buenos Aires. I already rented an apartment there, and you want it or not, but you invited. You can come and stay for a couple days or whatever you can do." And I was thinking, it's a new year and I have absolutely no plans. So I said, "Oh, you know what? I'll come for 10 days." And I flew to Buenos Aires.
How long had you been in tango, working on tango by this point?
About 4 or 5 months. Yeah,
4 or 5
so
months, okay.
I was just a complete beginner. When I came to Buenos Aires, I was a complete beginner, but I had excellent experience with taxi dancers. Because when I started to go to school to take classes, we came up to the teacher together with Marina, and we said, "You know, we went to Milonga a couple times, and it's completely useless experience for us because we just sit in the corner. Nobody's going to invite us. And even if somebody by mistake will invite you, they will see immediately that you're complete beginner and you don't know what you're doing, and then for the rest of the evening, nobody will invite you." And he said, "Oh, we have this system here. I can make a couple phone calls, and if you're ready to pay, somebody will come to Milonga with you and dance with you." And we said, "Yeah."
So how was it organized? Did you book a particular time frame with taxi dancers, or was it like tanda at one tanda at a time?
No, they charged per hour, and you had
I
to
see.
make arrangements with them for how many hours you want to hire them. And so
Gotcha.
they've been, the teacher, it was interesting, he asked us, "So do you have any particular like wishes or demands or no's or whatever?" You know, it was an interesting conversation.
I want to be led into the
I
biggest
know.
boleos.
So, and you don't even understand what he is talking about, right? Because he's so,
Yeah.
you know, we looked at each other and we said, "We have one particular request. They cannot be young. We don't want anybody who is younger than 30, 35, 40. 40 is our good. Over 40 is good." So we knew that.
And why is
Because
that?
we already, at that time, listen, I was like 48 years old. Marina is a little older. You understand that it looks kind of funny when you dance with a young. I have sons, you know, that age. So tango is very intimate, and it's close embrace. You cannot run away from it, and it really, in this interaction with men, all kinds of ideas and all kinds of emotions and feelings can occur or not occur, but they can occur and can happen. Am I using the right word? They can happen, right? And I don't want, for me, it's very unnatural to give a chance to myself to experience that with a man who is much younger than me, put it this way. So I'm much more comfortable dancing with somebody who is closer to me in age group. And I think it was a very right choice for us, because he actually probably looked through his database of available people at that time, and he picked 2 guys for us that were perfect. That's when I met Daniel. I met him at that time in Buenos Aires, and he is an excellent dancer. He is very proper. He is very sensitive. He understands immediately, so he knew with whom he is dealing. And when he danced with me, I felt that I know how to dance. I was just this great dancer, dancing my way away, and I felt the music, and I felt the partner, and I thought stupidly at that time that I know how to follow him, which I didn't, but he made me feel that way. So that was the great experience of taxi dancer for me.
For those who might not know, Daniel Arias is an avid tanguero in California, in the LA area, as well as Santa Barbara. And he has a very traditional milonguero style, which I think what you're pointing to is this quality of dancing in such a way that you feel like you know what you're doing as a follower, because they're so accommodating in their style, and they don't have a lot of ambition beyond staying with you, and everything sort of caters to that. And do you remember at that time how much it cost you to have an hour with a taxi dancer in Buenos Aires?
It was, comparison to now, I think it was cheap. I don't know, I haven't been in Buenos Aires for many years. You know, if I'm not mistaken, it was like, I would say $40, $50.
$40 an hour.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Now, one thing I'm curious is, a lot of times when I speak to women who started tango later in life, in their 40s, late 40s, 50s, 60s, many of them say how sad they are that they didn't start earlier, that they feel like they've missed out on something, and they sort of lost the opportunity to soak up whatever it is that they imagine is available earlier in life. Do you feel that way?
No, I don't feel that way. Everything is supposed to come to you at the time when you are ready to take it. And I believe that tango came into my life in that particular moment because after a lot of turbulence, I came to the point when I learned a couple things about myself, and I was on my way of changing a lot of attitudes that I had when I was younger. Maybe if we talk about physical abilities, if you start something when you're young, you are much more pliable. You can attain bigger goals. You can reach higher in your level, in your technicality. But I was not going to be a professional dancer or performer. So for me, what was important was that moment when I actually felt the like emotional and philosophical side of that dance. So when I felt that in order to receive pleasure, to get joy, I have to actually listen to somebody else and do what somebody else wants me to do. That was the biggest thing for me.
That tells me something about your character, I guess.
Yeah, because, I was younger. I was very, I was stubborn, and I was a very egocentric person, and I was always persuaded. We grew up atheists. We didn't believe in God. I still don't believe in God. And I used to say, when my children started to grow up and they've been asking me, Mom, do you believe in God? I was always very adamantly, I was telling them, no, I don't believe in God. I believe in myself. And I was so proud of that statement. Up until that time, up until 45 or 48, when tango came to my life, I was really proud. I was thinking that this is such a proud and self-fulfilling thing to say. I don't believe, I only believe in myself. I am my own God. I am my own universe. Everything is going around me, me, and so, yeah, I was putting all the responsibility on my own responsibilities of making decisions and being, you know, responsible for the results on my own shoulders. But at the same time, I was completely obliterating everybody who was around me. I didn't care what they want. It's important what I want, right? So when I emotionally came to the point that I started to realize it's not really working this way. It's not really how you can make yourself happy and fulfilled in life and have joy. Then tango came. And that was this moment of,
So you were ready
yeah,
for it.
I was ready for it. I was ready to accept this point of view in life that, yeah, in order for you to get joy and be happy and feel this moment of complete connection, you have to listen to another person.
So this makes me think that even if tango was, I guess, introduced to you years before, you weren't really ready to accept the fact that you have to be in communion with someone else in this way, that you weren't ready for it.
Yeah, I was not ready to have a partner in any sense of the word. You know what I mean? So when you're not ready to have a partner, when you're all on your own, even if you married and have somebody, you're on your own. You're not ready to have a partner in your life, real partner. And tango is all about that. It's all about having a partner. And guess what? When I found tango, I found my real partner. He came into my life.
Yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned that, because one thing that fascinated me about you was you telling me that you've been married 4 times. And I have some a curiosity about that. One was that, how did your last partner come into the picture? Because he's a tango dancer as well. So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit
He
about how that happened.
danced his whole life, and then he found tango a little earlier than me. So he was dancing. He went to all kinds of different events and milongas, and at one of the milongas in Auckland, actually it was, we went with my teacher, with Debbie. We came to that milonga. And oh boy, how many times I was disappointed. Because, yeah, so that's the moment. Before I regress. So when I came back from Buenos Aires and I went to my next private class with Debbie, she embraced me. She turned the music. She embraced me. She made like couple steps. And she said, oh my God, here it is. And we both felt it. Here it is. You're dancing. So... See, it combined all the classes that I took with her together with my trip and dancing with Daniel and taking classes.
Multi-pronged approach.
So it's all combined, and then I really felt, okay, I'm dancing. So we did another play with her. It was another performance that she created based on a story that I told her about Buenos Aires, about how I found tango. So the idea was, it's not that you found tango, it's that tango found you, actually, and that's what you left with. So she wrote it, and I was the main character in this play. I was playing. And by the way, talking about your last banter about performing, so for me, it's completely opposite from what you feel. Like first time when I went to the stage, and it was 250 people in the audience, and I went to the stage, and you don't see people because the light goes into your face, right? And I felt like this 500 eyes are looking at you, right? And you feel this warmth, like the warm wave of energy is coming to you, and I got so excited. But that made me relaxed.
Wow.
On the contrary. So I realized that, okay, I could be in my other life, maybe in the future lives, I could be an actress, because it relaxes me, actually, this energy of people watching me. And then I experienced it a couple times, because I try. I tried other performances and participate. But okay, going back to my,
And so each time you had the same
yeah, I have the
reaction,
same reaction. I feel,
that it just sort
yeah,
of
it's like warm,
connects you to
yeah,
yourself.
warm air wave comes to you, and I'm like, opening, and I want to fly. So
That's
I know,
amazing.
completely different. See how each person individually reacts to this.
Yeah.
Anyways, going back to my current partner and husband now, for 10 years already, time flies like crazy. So we met at the Milonga, and he just invited me to dance. And you know, my first teacher, Debbie, she was always telling me that when I embrace a person, I know 50% of things about this person.
Hmm.
And
And what did you know at that
so
time when you
I
embraced him?
embraced him, I think I knew like 75% maybe. I just felt this is it. And then we danced together, and I don't know what he felt, I never asked him. But you know, men, they don't like to talk about it. He wouldn't banter. And he went back. He told me that he lives in Santa Barbara. So he went back to Santa Barbara. And I thought, it's never gonna happen. He was married at that time. And I just said, yeah, it's not for me. I mean, it's nice, it's beautiful, and it could be, but it's not going to be. In tango world, it's perfect, but in real life, you see, it's so useful to find tango when you are older. Because from the very beginning, you completely divide. I never mixed it up. Also, one of your banters, you've been talking about it. I never mixed up tango world and my real life. And it's interesting now when I talk about it, I'm thinking, but I met my husband dancing tango. Yes, I did. And it was nice, and it all clicked together, and it was beautiful to dance. But then after that, that we met each other, tango helped us to find each other, right? Then we started to develop this relationship. And when we were developing it was so many different components that were getting together. And they all were supposed to be right. Because you don't have time anymore to make mistakes. I mean, how many times you can get married? Really?
Well, at least
I
four is what
know.
I'm
So
learning.
exactly. So you cannot make mistakes anymore. So you have to be sure. Just and for me and for him, we had to. So we were actually putting together all these components of our personalities and then our life, and thinking. So what if you take away the tango thing? Is it still gonna be something viable, something that's gonna last a lifetime? Do we have this base if we take the tango away? And when we found out that yes, it's real, it's something that can be. Tango is just a nice frosting. It's beautiful to have. It's great, believe me. But if you take it away, we're still gonna enjoy each other company and be together. And that's how we decided. And it didn't take us long. Like I don't know, in half a year, I think we decided that we want to be together. And in 1 year, I moved to Santa Barbara.
Wow. Now, has tango ever been a source of conflict or fighting between you two the way it so often is for couples in tango?
Yes, to be honest, there is no fighting, but there is frustration. The longer we are into our tango journey, the more opportunities we have to be frustrated with each other. To put it this way, in everybody is walking their own pace, right, in life and in tango. And even if you are beautifully matched together, there are still points when you don't coincide. Also, in every given point of time, like today, I'm feeling all up and want to dance, and my partner doesn't, and then the other day it's vice versa. So you have to compromise, and you have to understand what's going on with another person. So it's, again, it's all about connection. So if you have normal connection in life, then it helps not it helps to understand where your frustration is coming from and then deal with it. So in these 10 years that we've been together, we already learned what things we love. For example, we both love tango travel. We live for it, really. We work because we want to make all this money because we want to do tango travel. What is tango travel? It's just we go to any country that preferably we always choose places where we haven't been together yet. And we go there.
I see.
And I don't like nature, so I love big cities. So we usually go to big city. And there is a big tango community in big city. And we just go to Milonga every night to different one. And if we stay there for a month, everybody knows you by that time. Or we travel to different little cities around if they have some events around this big city. And you learn about community, learn about people, you learn about this certain town or city from inside, because you learn it from the tango way, not like a tourist. And this is beautiful. We both love it. We both don't like festivals, marathons, encuentros, because for us it's very superficial. What we love about tango. Now you see, I started to say we. Before I met Ilya, I never said we. I was only saying me. So we went to many places where it was such an adventure to find out about tango. It would never be same. Like before, we were both traveling. We were both traveling the world extensively. We've been to so many places, but it was completely different. So tango made it so much more raw. It's like you go and you find out these little places and all this kind of different people, because tango attracts weird people. So
That's
yeah.
right. That's right. Yeah, and you never know. It might be really great or it might be really bad.
Absolutely.
And the thrill of that.
This is the thing. This is the adventure. That's why we don't like the pre-arranged events like encuentros, for example, because it for us tango should be like life. It's not fair. It's not fair. There is no fairness in tango. It's messy. It's messy. And that's the beauty of it. And that's the beauty of it. And that's why we love to come to Los Angeles, to all the milongas where we know people. And you never know how it's going to be. Yes, it can be great or it can be bad. And every time our experience is different between us and between other people at the milonga, and all kinds of stuff that comes in life and it seeps through into tango as well. That's why, going back to your question about if we have any fights, no, we took many classes. We went to Los Angeles for a month together. We went to Buenos Aires for a month together, and we went to DNI. So we've been taking classes every day, couple of them, and then going to milongas at night. And there were times then Ilya was saying, like, I'm too old to take classes. You cannot teach me anything. I cannot take classes anymore. I cannot do this anymore. And then I was saying, oh, really? I cannot learn that. I cannot wear heels all the time. And I cannot not sleep at night, every night in a row. I cannot do that. I cannot do this. So this I cannot do goes probably as uh, as a reflection of our uh, inner frustration that we feel about ourselves. And that's the point where you have to understand, okay, this is something that I feel about myself, so I shouldn't take it onto my partner because it's what I feel with my own abilities and disabilities to do certain things. That's
Yeah.
why.
Now, being in a relationship within tango is its own challenge. And when I have had experiences like that, my current partner is also a dancer, but when I was first in tango and I started tango in my 20s, and my very first relationship in tango was extremely dramatic and full of fighting and conflict, and the next relationship was too. And one of the very common experiences was jealousy, both jealousy for me, seeing my partner dance with somebody and they're really enjoying it, or hearing them come and say, "Oh my God, they're such a beautiful dancer. I love dancing with them," and me immediately like, "Am I good enough?" Or vice versa, them getting upset about me really enjoying dancing with someone. And I have a hunch that's just something that's part of being young and being sort of immature emotionally. But I'm curious, having started tango later in life, do you feel like that helped you sort of navigate around these emotions
Yeah,
and
definitely.
have a different outcome?
Definitely, you are absolutely right. Yeah, it's a privilege of younger people to feel jealous.
I don't know about
No, it's
privilege.
really.
It puts a
I
damper
know
on
it
things.
does, but also it makes you feel alive because all your adrenaline is going on. Yeah,
Wow, that's an interesting way of putting it. I've never thought of it as feeling
yeah.
alive. I thought of it as like being trapped by your own in
Insecurities,
inner,
insecurities.
yeah, insecurities and your inner battles
Um,
about your self-worth. And
Yeah, so yeah, you see, we have also you have a privilege of all these physical abilities that you can master much more in dance, in any dance form, in any physical activity than when you are older. But when you are older, you have the privilege of being wiser, right? Luckily, both me and Ilya, we have. Uh, we have great sense of humor, so we laugh at each other, we make fun of ourselves, and it's I don't know, but I have a feeling that he is not feeling jealous when I am dancing with somebody and he sees me dancing and he sees that I'm having a good time. I have a feeling that he's actually happy for me. Because I am happy for him. When I hear, like here in Santa Barbara, we have very small tango community, and sometimes when we used to have, before COVID, we used to have milongas, much more activity, and we used to have house milongas, and I hear sometimes women are talking, and they say, "Oh, it's so nice to dance with Ilya. He feels like a Cadillac. He's so soft." I will always remember this comparison, like a Cadillac, so soft and so musical. And I was thinking, oh, shoot, yeah, he is a great dancer. So I'm happy that these women had this opportunity to experience him,
your
my
Cadillac, to
Cadillac.
take your
Yeah, you
Cadillac
can
for a
borrow it
test drive.
exactly, exactly. So
Now you know how good I have it.
exactly, be jealous of me, right? I'm not jealous of you or him. So it's nice in this particular point. It's nice to be older, and kind of take everything as it is. I know there are people in our age group that they can, at the milonga, like I know man, like his wife liked some particular dancer. So he went and secretly came up to that guy and said, "My wife, she loves how you dance. Can you please invite her?"
Wow.
Yeah, see?
What a nice thing to
Yeah,
do.
because he wants her to be happy, to enjoy the moments.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. Now, this is your fourth time being married, and I'm curious what kept you going? Because in my mind, I feel like I would stop at two because I'd be like, okay, it's not working. So what was it that kept you believing in the institution of marriage and wanting to get married after the first couple of times it didn't
Unfortunately, it
work
didn't work
out?
out. I think the most correct. I think it's many things, but most close to the full answer will be this idea that I believed that I am changing. I believe that I am growing, and when I fully realized that I grew out of my characteristical things, out of my attitudes towards life. I grew out of many bad habits. Um, then I believe that I could build then something real. Because to tell the truth, I never imagined that I would be alone. Maybe not married, but not alone. Definitely, I never wanted to be alone. I know that there are people that feel okay and feel happy to be by themselves. Not me. Never was. And so when I met Ilya, I thought, yes, this is it. This is with whom I want to be. And then my next stage was, he said, do you want to get married? And I said, yes, I want to get married because I feel like I can do it now. I can. It was also like a self-assertion thing. Also, I can show to myself. Yeah, because before that, I was completely disappointed in my abilities to create a family and to be married, because I never was able to listen to nobody and to compromise with anybody. And now I said, yeah, I want to get married because I feel that I can do it. I'm ready, thanks to tango.
Yeah, it really
Yeah,
sounds like tango was the thing that also helped you have a relationship, a viable, functional
exactly.
relationship, which I think is
It
really
showed me, yeah, it
interesting.
showed me that it's possible for me in particular to have it, and I keep growing,
Now,
never stops.
you've been now dancing for 13 years, and I'm imagining that you've observed certain changes both in how you relate to tango and in tango in general. What would you say are some of the main differences between what your experience of tango was when you first started versus now?
It definitely changed a lot, or maybe I am changing also together with it. In the beginning, I absolutely believed that the real tango is it between man who is leading and woman who is following. And this is where you see the essence. This is why it's so beautiful. With the years, I learned more and I'm watching more, and I see that the whole scene is changing. I see that there are so many, tango evolves into so many different directions and forms that when I look at them, and I told you already that my eye is trained to see the beauty, I look at them and I say, huh, this is beautiful. It's beautiful. Maybe in the beginning, like my brain was kind of putting a fight to that idea. It was telling me, no, it's not beautiful. It's wrong. Because the right thing is between man and man is leading, and woman is following. This is not right. This is not beautiful. But then my eye was telling me, the brain is wrong. It's a beautiful form. It's a great professionalism. It's big workmanship, like master. It's masters are really doing that. So it's you cannot just discount it. You cannot say this is something wrong. Look at the Makana brothers. When I saw them performing first time, it was what, like 7, 8 years ago or more, even in Tango Room. First time I saw them perform, I said, so how do you assess that? It's not It's two
Mm-hmm.
brothers, but it's
Mm-hmm.
great. It's unbelievable, and so little by little, I guess the scene is changing, and me, my brain, I'm working on it, is changing, and I don't think anymore like before. I was saying, "Oh, woman is dancing with a woman." Huh? Reminds me wartime, war when there were not enough men.
Reminds me of
Exactly. So
wartime.
no man, everybody is fighting the war and women are dancing with women. What is it?
Mm-hmm.
But now I look at it and I say, it's actually it's valid form of enjoyment and
Yeah.
expression, and it's there. And this is what tango is. And we go to our tango travels and we see it all around the world. It's everywhere.
Yeah, and to connect to something you were saying earlier, that to be able to enjoy and have pleasure and be in that state of mind where you can receive that, to acknowledge that that's possible with a person who's the same gender, not opposite, that you can actually experience that. I do think that's sort of a little bit of a revolutionary thought, because even in the last few years that I've observed more women leading, I think it's taken some time for women to realize that leading can be not just a way for them to keep dancing, and if they're not getting enough dances, but it actually can be enjoyable and pleasurable in that way that we desire, even though it's not like between
Man
man
and
and
woman.
woman.
I would love
Hmm.
to live in the world where everything is defined as so. Like, this is male, this is female, they have roles, and we don't want to have any dubious ideas about it, and this is how it is. And we just take it. But who cares what I want, right? The world, the world is apparently different, and it gives us and tango shows this, right? So I may not necessarily like this idea that men became more feminine and women became more masculine, but I think that's what's happening because women take so many roles on themselves now, so men kind of have to move away and let them do that. So, and it happens in tango. Look at how many women are leading, and as you said, yeah, they don't get enough dances. They start leading, and then they learn how to do it, and then they realize, oh my God, I don't even need to follow anymore to get joy out of that activity and to be happy because I am the one who generates ideas and I'm the one who makes plans. That's what happens in tango, right? Because if you are a leader, you are the one who is making a
Hmm.
plan what's going to happen, and it's a very satisfying feeling. I don't think that for me I want to go there because my idea
Why not?
because my idea to be in tango is it's completely opposite. I was that my whole life. I am the one who generates
Hmm.
ideas and makes plans and fulfills them and have full responsibility for all that. Now I want to dance tango because I don't want to make plans. I want just somebody else makes them and I just follow and get pleasure out of it. So
I want to be in the Cadillac in the back
exact,
seat, enjoying the view.
exactly. I don't even want to know where we're going. I don't really.
As long as the good music is
Absolutely,
playing and
absolutely. Surprise me. So I am, but see, it's that's why tango is so beautiful because it has space for everybody. It has space for everybody. I have my ideas and my kind of desires and my whys. Why am I doing that? And I can find it there. And then you can have something completely different, opposite, and you can find it there too. And my idea when I want to learn how to lead is because I want to be a better follower. That's the main thing,
hmm.
not because I want to lead.
Yeah.
So,
Yes. And I do know that there's a lot of people think that way, and there's a huge benefit to doing that. I guess in my experience, though, with what happens when you have that intention of becoming a better follower and you're working on leading, then who is to say that you're not going to suddenly experience this moment of like, oh my God, there it is. There's that pleasure, there's that
Yeah,
joy. And it's sort of, once you have it, then you have it. You can't
undo it,
unexperience
right?
it.
Just like, yeah, I
Yeah,
completely
yeah.
agree with you. I'm kind of yeah, but I'm so lazy. I'm not practicing, so I don't know how many years it will take me to even be able, to do it in the milonga. So it's very far future for me, but maybe. And talking about ageism, going back to one of your banters that I really enjoyed, because you touching the points that are real and they are in life and they are in tango, and yes, there is ageism, and we cannot say let's just stop it, and it's not good. We cannot do it. Not in life, not in tango. It's gonna be there, and I'm ready for it. And I already noticed that, and I get much less dances, and it's there. But what can you do? This is what is supposed. This is how it's supposed to be. It's not something that you have to fight against. You just have to accept it.
What are your strategies for dealing with that
Oh, my strategy
reality?
is to hold on to Ilya.
So you guys, so whenever you're saying that if you go and you're not getting the dances, you guys will just dance
Yeah,
together, and that
yeah,
will be sort
yeah,
of the
yeah.
experience.
And
So you
and
dance a lot
you
together
know,
at
at
the
the
Malanga.
end of the night, my best dances are with him, anyways. So I'm happy when we dance together.
Yeah, and actually that was one of my other questions. Like, since you guys have been dancing together for such a long time, do you feel like your dance has changed since you first started? Like,
Yeah,
has it gotten deeper, better,
definitely,
or
definitely.
yeah?
It's deeper, it's smoother, it's kind of, yeah. It's this feeling of uh, knowing well, but also excitement, because you know well this machine, this Cadillac, right? But it takes you, but it takes you to different locations all the time, because it's different music, different ronda, different atmosphere in the milonga. So everything is different all the time, and your feeling and whatever it is, it's all always not always something unexpected, always something out of the ordinary. But the machine is the same, the driver is the same, and that's why it's so smooth. So you go through all this excitement together, smoother and smoother, and the feeling is. I hope it's mutual, and I hope it's a good feeling.
I was thinking that a lot of the listeners of this podcast and a lot of the people who've been coming into my private group share with me that they are beginners. They're just starting tango, and many of them are starting in, their later years, the way you did. And as you shared, it's tough at the beginning. It's a difficult journey. It doesn't necessarily pay off right up front. So I'm curious if you have, what would you say are your best suggestions for those first months of struggle in tango to overcome that?
I'm trying to remember what was holding me up, because so many times, I was driving from Berkeley, say, or Oakland. I was driving to Marin County. There's a long bridge, this Richmond Bridge, and I was driving so frustrated from this milongas, being a beginner and no partner, and nobody wants to dance with you, or whoever wants to dance with you, you don't want to dance with them. So this regular stuff, right?
Typical
Typical,
night at
typical night at
Milonga,
home.
yes.
I was driving through this bridge and thinking, and I was looking at my shoes, and I was thinking, I'm just gonna open the window, I'm just gonna toss those shoes from the window into the bay and forget about it forever. And then I kept coming back. So why was I coming back? I don't know. It's such an individual journey, and if you like this feeling that you can express something out of your physical being with the music and other person. If you like this feeling, you will keep coming back. So if you can catch at least one moment like that during those frustrating milongas when you are just a beginner and nobody wants you, and or somebody invites you and you dance, and it's a horrible experience, like the worst stunt of your life. I had many of those. So you just forget about it, and you keep concentrating on the ones that, oh, but I felt that moment. Remember that moment? Maybe I will feel it again. And that's what kind of brings you back, and this search for this, I don't know, magic of tango.
Yeah, I really love this sentiment that you're sharing, which could be a start of another banter altogether. Just the idea of this question of why do we ultimately dance, or why do we want to dance? And at the core of it is that we have something to express creatively. We want that channel. That's why people get into any sort of creative activity in the first place. It's not to perfect a technique or be known as a tango dancer or a ballet dancer. It has to be driven by this desire of like, okay, I want to express something
Creatively.
creatively, and this is an opportunity for me to do that.
Absolutely.
So I
Absolutely. You
really,
put it, yeah,
yeah, I
yeah, you
appreciate you
put it
sharing that.
in the right way. Yeah. It's something out of yourself. It's doesn't depend on anybody. That suddenly you are a creator. Suddenly you become, yeah.
Yeah, and something I've noticed with my own dance, and I'm curious if you've noticed that before, when I was first dancing, it seemed like I was chasing after the perfect tanda to experience the fulfillment of expression. Like it had to be a good dancer, it had to be good music, and there was all these conditions that had to be in place. But now I feel more and more that I can get that expression with a lot less
Exactly.
requirements. The music might not be perfect. I might not be dancing with the
Advance.
most advanced dancer, but somehow there's an economy of means or some sort of a pathway that I found like, oh, I can still connect to that expression. Do you feel that
Yes, the
way?
more experienced I am dancing, the more often I find myself in this moment. And it's amazing that how sometimes very little things uh, like uh, create this magical minute or two, or and it comes from unexpected places. Uh, and that's why you think, okay, that's why I'm doing that. But it comes with experience. So the only thing I can tell is, yeah, keep dancing. The longer you dance, the more chances you have that you will experience that you will have it. Um, also what tango is teaching you. It's teaching you acceptance. I told you how I feel that I'm becoming different. That I don't have this black and white anymore. I have a lot of gray areas now because I become more and more accepting. Like in the beginning, when I started my journey, it was even revolting. I couldn't make myself actually embrace these strangers with my whole heart. Uh, why? I don't know these people. Why should I come so close to them and embrace them actually and let them embrace me? 13 years later, it's so easy for me. After thousands and thousands of embraces, it's so easy, and I do it with my whole heart. Even if dance is gonna be bad and it's not, the moment is not gonna happen, the embrace itself is already good. I embrace this person, he embraces me, and this is a nice thing to do, just on human level. And that's what
Yeah.
tango does to you. I think it teaches you to accept people with all their quirks.
Yeah, and also accepting your own unenjoyment of it, perhaps. That if you're, like in my episode about the worst
Right.
Honda, it's like when the worst Honda is happening, you can just accept that it's happening and not feel like something is wrong with the world for you
Right.
experiencing something
Yeah.
bad. And what you just said, it kind of brings to mind that mindset of black and white that you were experiencing early on. It seemed like believing that there is a right and a wrong, black and white, gives you a certain level of safety, because when you have definition, you feel safe whether you're in this side or that side. But when you start being more like accepting the gray, you lose the safety of the definitions, and it seems like the safety has to come from trusting and being vulnerable, perhaps, and accepting that you don't know everything and that things are not what they seem or they might change. And it's a much more, in my experience, and I'm curious if that's how you feel, but in my experience, it feels like a much less secure place, because the ground is shifting. It might be shifting consistently for the rest of your life, but it also is the thing that kind of makes you feel alive, because you're not settled, because things can change. And so there's this like thrill, but also maybe a little bit of fear, like, okay, what's going to come next? Like, is it going to change? That's how I sort of think about it. I'm wondering if that's similar for you.
Yeah, that our children are our best teachers, because when they grow up and become adults, they live in completely different life. They're different generation, and they have completely different mindsets. So they start teaching you, and if you're not capable to accept this teaching, to accept that they become wise, then you become stagnant. You become old, really. And if you are capable of accepting that everything is shifting, nothing is for sure, all the borders are kind of mixed up and swept away, and now, yeah, it's very vulnerable position, because now you don't know what is right and what is wrong, but you also feel that, but it gives you an opportunity to stay young, because you still have ways to grow. Life can still surprise you, and you can surprise yourself. Like, I surprise myself dancing tango, really. It's a big surprise for me. No, I'm telling you the truth. I never thought that I'm going to be dancing anything, leave alone love to perform. I'm actually going to participate in Jack and Jill also, so we may dance together. Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
this is
Oh my
my
gosh, that's
this is
going to be
my
so much
second
fun.
time. Yeah, I did it last time, and
Oh,
yeah, I'm
that's
going to do it
wonderful.
this time too. So
Well, you're going to see me sweating bullets and shaking, because that is not my cup of
I know,
tea. And I'm just doing it for the purpose of, pushing myself
to the
into
limits.
an unfamiliar territory to keep myself young. Thank you so much for being on the show, for contributing your ideas and being so open about your experience. And I hope we will banter again in the
I
future
hope so.
on other topics that are going to come up, I'm
I
sure.
hope so. Thank you so much. Thank you.